Hey everybody, it's me, John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I am the anti-hero, and it is time to get over here. So, user 187 was watching one of the past videos. I believe it was the Batman the Animated Series, McFarlane Toys Batman review reaction, and asked if I would review the McFarlane Toys Mortal Kombat Scorpion or Raiden figure. Now, when asked, I didn't have either of those figures. I still don't have the Raiden figure. I was, when I was playing Mortal Kombat back in the day on the original Genesis, um, I was a Scorpion guy. I sucked at the game. The AI would figure out how I was fighting and just, cheat to no end, and I'd get frustrated and have to stop playing. Um, but after 187 asked, hey, would you review this figure? I was at a local comic shop here in Tucson, Charlie's Comic Books, where I go to get all my books and stuff. Across the way was a GameStop. I went into the GameStop to see if, hey, maybe they'll have some figures that I can use to do some reviews and reactions to. And they did have the Scorpion and I believe Sub-Zero and like the Ice Sub-Zero figure as well. And then I thought to myself, hey, my buddy Zach works at a GameStop up the way. So I texted him. I asked him, Zach, are you working today? He said, absolutely. So I swung by there and not only got to see one of my friends, which is cool, and picked up the Scorpion, the regular Scorpion. Now, you'll notice that he's not in his classic yellow and black. It's got yellow or golden accents to it, but it's predominantly white or cream with some dark charcoal, predominantly not all black. There's some black accents on the panels on the sides. Now, this figure, just like the other McFarlane figures that I reviewed in the last couple videos, you have to cut the base out of the back of the plastic. That's kind of a pet peeve for me. However, I also believe you should, play with your toys and your action figures and stuff like that. Obviously, I've got some on the wall behind me. Brand new setup. Did this the other night. Hope you guys like it. Pretty proud of it. Was up until like 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, doing that. But such is the life of somebody who had a 3-day weekend and way too much time on his hands because he can't work on his comic books. So we're reviewing and reacting to figures. Now, the swords, as well as the Scorpion Sting, are green. So I'm guessing it's like a jade, or maybe it's poison. That's what my buddy Zach was saying. He was just like, well, maybe it's supposed to be poison. I don't know. Because Scorpion Sting is toxic, so maybe that makes sense. You do have to attach the two swords, the short and the long sword. Now, when you're attaching those, my recommendation would be putting the long sword in first. Put the sheath in, don't put the sword in the sheath and then attach it. Put the sheath in, then put the sword in. Same thing with the short sword. I'm not sure if I got them in right, although the tassel that's hanging down, I'm guessing, kind of makes sense. But it seems like it should be, I don't know if it's facing in the right direction. I was looking at the picture on the back of the box and can't really tell. The plastic in it, it's painted, brown and dyed brown, and then all the other parts are like painted on top of it. So when I was putting it in, you kind of have to like finagle your way in, like put it in and then pop the loop in. You're not going to hear a snap or anything knowing that it's in place. You just kind of have to wiggle it and see it's still pretty loose. But that's not bad. I'm sure if it was really firm in there and it was a harder plastic, like if your figure fell down, it would snap right off. While putting it in, the plastic seemed to discolor a little bit, which, lets you know that it's weakening somewhat, so that you got to be careful with it. Not super fragile, not super delicate. It's definitely not a hard plastic, so it's not going to snap right off. Just be a little bit careful when you're putting it in. You should be okay. Then while I was setting up the Scorpion Sting, he fell back over and like his head fell off. I think I've got his head on pretty well because I wasn't able to do that before. Um, and then you just kind of wrap the chain around his arm. Now, let me say a couple of detractions about this, other than trying to get the weaponry on him. Um, the big issue that I'm gonna have with this figure is they put an articulation point right under his ribs so that his body can fold forward and back for like better fighting poses. However, because of his clothing, he can't do that. There's a pivot point that's almost like a ball joint at his waist, so you can kind of rotate him, rock him a little bit, but he's not going to be able to get into super, super detailed poses. That's not really a problem with this figure for me. He's got really good pivoted ankles. He's also got the point toes, so you can get him in more of like a forward lean action stance. The detail on this figure is pretty awesome. The armor on his shins and calves, and on his shoulders and wrists and hands and forearms is pretty awesome. You're getting like gold armament, which is keeping with his like yellow and black theme. Now you'll notice, he's not in his traditional yellow and black colors. That's the GameStop exclusive. It was a few bucks more. This version is the regular version, and it's $20. The GameStop version, even though it wasn't stamped or marked as a GameStop version, where me and Zach were assuming it was because it was like $5 or $6 more. So if you're wanting the closer to the beginning design projects or concepts of the figures or the designs with more detail, then you want to go with the GameStop exclusive. I haven't been playing like the updated Mortal Kombat games. The most recent game, and this is going to date me, DC versus Mortal Kombat. Super fun game, by the way. If you haven't played it, you got to play it. I beat it through the DC side of things. I haven't played it through the Mortal Kombat side of things, but that's a PS3 game, and that was, like a decade ago. Shows you how often I game. But I dig this figure. I'm really glad 187 wanted me to react and review to this figure, because Scorpion was the character I loved to play with back in the original Mortal Kombat, the Sega Genesis. And you do Abacab at the very beginning, and you can unlock all the flags and turn on all the blood and the one hit finishes and stuff like that. But the detail on this figure is great. There's even rivets. Now, you may not be able to see. Yeah, you can see them. There's rivets on the armament that are holding it in place onto his boots. The toes also, he's got those ninja toes, so they're separated. They bend together all as one unit. But I mean, the level of detail on this figure for $20 greatly surpasses the McFarlane ones, the McFarlane DC ones so far that I've seen, even though I've only gotten the animated ones. Definitely exceeds any Marvel Legend that I've seen to date, other than maybe some of the Build-A-Figures when they're a little bit bigger. This is a top-notch figure, I would say. Other than the little bit with the not being able to pose them all the way, this is a badass figure. You're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you're a fan of really, really cool action figures, lots of details, some decent accessories. This guy doesn't have any issues standing up like the John Stewart Green Lantern did, and the Batman does a little bit. Great figure. I would say go out and pick one up if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, if you're a McFarlane Toys fan, if you just love quality figures. Definitely worth the price. Some of these have been around for a little bit, so you might be able to get them on discount or clearance or anything like that. But paint jobs on them are exquisite. The sculpting on the fabrics is beautiful. Like even the side panels has like the little notches and creases in it, so you can tell it's supposed to be leather. Like just totally awesome and definitely worth cost. So my first requested review and reaction 187. I hope you like the review and reaction. This is Thank you for recommending this. This is this is a totally cool figure. It's gonna Like I just rearranged my entire living room area, I guess, to go along with this backdrop, and so now I got some new stuff to put up, and we'll see what's going on. So check out the other videos. Also, I might be doing a GoFundMe, some sort of crowdfunding, because it looks like my laptop is kaput, and that means it's either traditional analog or it's going to be a ways before I start working on digital comic books again. Um, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But you guys have I hope if you're having like a shortened work week, I hope it's a good shortened work week. If you're at school and you have a shortened school week, hope it went well or is going to go well. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm going to be making more of these videos because it's really going to depend on how I'm working on the comic book at this point in time. So peace.